Nerd.
Nerd.
Yeah, I know. What can I tell you?
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers. And now, here are
Patrick and Eliza. On this episode of Contest of Challengers, I have a conversation with independent comic creator and self-published artist Eliza Frye. We were lucky enough to meet Eliza several years ago when she was coming through town to support her then Kickstarted book Regalia, and have been fans and friends ever since. And she just had a very successful weekend at the New York Comiccon, so I figured what better time to talk to her than right now. We talk about Regalia and what she's done since and what's coming up and her experiences at the con. And while we set this up through Skype, when it started, she was using the video function and I could not get my camera to work. So there were a lot of comments I edited out about me having difficulty getting the camera to work, which I eventually did. There's a few times we talk about things happening off screen that you won't get to see, but you'll get to hear, and I think you'll be able to follow along, as she was in a constant battle for her life from a friend throwing paper wads and cardboard coffee cups at her and things like that. So once again, thanks to technology, we get to talk to somebody who we're big fans of, who doesn't live in Chicago, and have a fun conversation about comics. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, I don't have my video on.
Well, that's not fair.
I'm sorry.
I did my hair for this shit.
I combed my hair. Does that count?
Of course it does. And they wear ties and vests and stuff.
Oh, at that comic shop?
Every day, yeah.
Wonder, so they're like
I'm not doing that now.
Like craft cocktail bartenders of the
comics world. Yeah.
Kudos to you guys.
And all the trades are alphabetized instead of being broken up by like Marvel, DC, instead of being prioritized. I'm pimping your store.
I can hear.
Anyway, how are you?
I'm good. I'm definitely not wearing a suit and tie right now, though, so there's that.
Well, well-placed lies, Patrick. I wouldn't have known the difference.
Well, we're not. I'm at the store, so that counts. That totally counts.
Okay.
Hey, thanks so much for getting up and doing this with me.
Of course.
It's been a very long time, and I feel so bad because I can totally see you, and you probably do have at least like a little static image of me in the tie.
Yeah, it's a little.
Okay. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's very, very stoic. That's actually a pretty good impression. If you came to the store, nobody would know the difference. Actually, they'd probably like you better.
I don't know. You're pretty jolly.
Not much.
I got a bitch resting face. Actually, what's funny about that? My hair is shaved on one side.
I've seen that, yeah.
In California and up and down the West Coast, this is like the new cool chick thing to do, right? Oh. And it wasn't when I did it, and then a month later, ScarJo did it, and it became like mainstream.
Yeah. It's very hip here right now, by the way.
Thank you. Okay. So, in New York, it means lesbian.
Does it really?
Yes, it does. And the problem is on its own, in a different context, it might not, because it probably means lesbian, but it could mean punk rocker or just like too cool for school chick, but there's only like 5 of those,
Yeah.
So my whole thing before was I was pretty girly baseline, so I could do like black nails and like a black leather jacket and stuff like that. But in combination with that stuff, the black nails, the leather jacket, the bitch boots, my unbridled love for Furiosa.
I see where this is going.
Yeah, I didn't realize it because I'm kind of dense sometimes. But then last night,
no, it's not because you're dense. It's a geographic.
Furiosa of the lesbian war boys.
Yes, I had an entourage accumulating at New York Comiccon, and these girls, they just kept coming back and they kept bringing me presents and stuff. And quite frankly, it shows I'm going les from now on because that user experience, seriously, that user experience is way better than having creepy guys crawling all over me. But
wait, hold on. This is New York. Couldn't you have both?
No, the guys don't, because there's 2-to-1 girls to guys in New York, so they don't really. It's too intimidating.
Oh wow.
What kind of presents did you get?
People brought me. I got a belt buckle, a Furios's belt buckle.
Oh. Do you actually wear belts that have interchangeable buckles?
Because you can't find a decent belt for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like the belts that I have don't have that ability to take off the buckle, I guess.
No, but this was actually a 3D printed thing, like the actual her belt, the Immortan Joe logo one, basically, that she had made, and some snacks.
I think that like the snacks, the coffee, that kind of stuff is probably the best stuff to get because you don't have to leave your table, yet it comes to you.
As long as it's not roofied.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, I guess I never would have thought of that, but I don't have to worry about stuff like that. That's creepy. I guess you can't just accept, like, here, I got you this thing. Don't worry that it's open. Don't mind that. No. Exactly. That's just, I was letting it cool.
Right.
Or warm.
It's just fizzy.
Whatever it was. Yeah, that's, I shook it up on the way over. That's all it is. Don't think of it. Just drink it. Just drink it now. No, drink it now. Right now. Right now.
Chud.
What are current comic conventions if not frat parties of the 80s? Full of peer pressure and trying to impress all your cool friends.
Nerds.
Nerds are the frat parties of the 80s, don't you think? No, I don't know about that, but definitely it's jocks are nerds as well, just about sports.
Yeah, I buy that.
With abs.
Yeah, they're just nerds with abs. Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about you and what you do and the New York Comiccon and all your experiences and all that stuff. So I guess I should go backwards and we together can explain who you are to the listener who may not have had the experience with you that I have had. So you first came onto the Challengers radar for your book Regalia. And that was, I don't even remember what year that was. I mean, I was going to look at it, but I figured, we'll just talk about it. 2010?
Yeah, that would have been January of 2010 or late 2009. 2000,
because we had you, I think, on New Year's Eve. That's when you were in town.
That's probably, yes, that's probably true, yeah.
So if that was 2009, that's really early days for us. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it was a KickStarter project that went very well for you.
It did. It went too well, actually. Because it took me 3 years to finish that KickStarter project.
Oh, don't worry. There's a lot of people still to this day that are finding that same kind of difficulty with the fulfillment aspect of it. And there have been plenty of people who have taken so long that postal rates have changed, especially internationally, and they wind up having to lose a ton of money. Or I'm sure you've heard stories of people trying to do a second Kickstarter to pay for the fees that have accrued since their first Kickstarter for the same item. That doesn't work well.
No, I no one buys that shit.
That's shady. That's pretty bad. Yeah, but that's why there's Indiegogo, because then they can just jump to that and not have to pay fees or worry about it actually hitting a certain dollar amount. But anyway, Regalia was an anthology of yours, and it was your first foray into graphic novels, graphic collections of work, or just sequential work in that aspect.
Yeah, because it was a collection of pretty much all of the comics sequential work that I had done to that date. I heard about Kickstarter, and then I realized, I've done enough short stories to constitute maybe a book. Like if I get one more in there, and you put some drawings in the back, like it's got to be over 100 pages to count as a book, right?
Yeah, there's actually there are definitions as to how each length is a different level of when it's one of those comics without pictures. There's a novella or a novel, or whatever the length be. But yeah.
And you have a little more leeway with short story collections too. It's because it's really novella length, but anyway. Yeah, I think I had only one story that I didn't include in that.
Okay.
So literally all the comics I had drawn to that date.
And was it your intention to make it a slipcase hardcover? A dust jacket hardcover, or did you change it as the Kickstarter went along and you thought, hey, I can make it a little bit fancier, or I can add to the section.
Yeah, not my intention at all. I started out very modestly because I felt it was better to have a smaller, successful campaign than to try to go big and then not make it.
Sure.
So it was only supposed to be a small paperback. And then I think 6,000 was the original goal.
Yeah.
And I think it got 12 or 14, somewhere in there. So then that got upgraded to hardcover and printed in America and with sketch bookmarks and custom book plates and stamps and as much like tedious, repetitive hand labor, you know?
Anything to make it harder for yourself. Trust me, we at Challengers know exactly how that goes.
It's in the name, though. Like, you guys have to.
There's not a project we can't overcomplicate.
Right, exactly.
And spend too much money on. We, as Dal likes to say, we're really good at spending money on things that don't make us any money.
There you go.
Hopefully yours made you money. Or didn't cost you money. I mean, ultimately, that's what it comes down to.
Right, yeah. I mean, by now it's probably starting to make me money from the book sales. The project itself made no money. I think I was $1,000 out of pocket, somewhere around there. Not too bad. I mean, considering like I had no experience with this and the shipping and the international shipping and then and then I moved to France right after, so a bunch of that stuff then had to get shipped from France.
Oh man.
And I had no idea what that was going to cost when I started and planned the budget and stuff like that. So for as little planning and forethought as I had, it worked out pretty well.
That's just, so many people don't realize the physical amount of labor and effort that goes into it from you. That's why so many of these fulfillment services seem to do a great job, because sure, they charge you money, but you just turn everything over to them and they ship it out and do all that stuff. But I don't know how cost effective that is. But yeah, just the amount of personal time you spent fulfilling these things was probably completely out of balance with how the money that came in or expectations, really.
Yeah, and I hired some help actually even at the end to get the shipping out the door, because there was no way, I had to leave for France, so I had a hard deadline.
Yeah.
And there was just no way I was physically going to be able to get it out in time otherwise. So, but a great learning experience, and doing it again, I would be able to do it right,
Sure. So obviously that is a great segue to, are you planning to do it again or down the line?
If I haven't, first I had to finish that one. I felt it was unethical to do another Kickstarter when I still had outstanding rewards to fulfill the first one.
That's very upfront of you.
And since I'm, as it happens, seriously almost done with the last painting for the last Kickstarter reward, I can think about doing another one again soon.
Nice. Would you do different rewards? And admittedly,
Yes.
I didn't think we were going to talk this much about Kickstarter, but it's fascinating, and I didn't realize that it was still ongoing for you. So do you think you would do less rewards that take you time and more rewards that don't?
Yeah,
those are.
Basically, I think it's best used as a pre-order system.
I completely agree.
So, and where I got into trouble was with all the paintings and stuff like that, and especially because I allowed everything to be custom. So it was, a painting of whatever you wanted, and then I did custom comics, and we had to develop the story together.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah. So that's where I got into trouble.
Youch.
I would definitely do it again. I think it's a great way to fund projects, but it's a great way to fund projects that are ready to print. Like, it's got to be ready to go. And at least I had that. At least the whole book was done. So all I had to do was lay it out, which is not necessarily small, but there were no other stories to complete or anything like that. And if I did do original paintings, they would be my choice. Like, I would just do the characters. And at the time that I did it, they hadn't introduced yet limiting the reward tiers. So you couldn't have a tier of paintings and have only 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that would have really helped too. Because even doing custom stuff, I might no, I wouldn't because I hate drawing children. But I might consider doing it if it could be reasonable now to do it, only because you could limit it to like a reasonable quantity. Because mine just got out of control. I priced it to sell because I wanted to meet my goal, but then 200 people wanted paintings.
And I don't blame them, of course, but
Right, yeah.
that's definitely a large amount of things to do. I don't even think Kickstarter curates things anymore. I think they just say, yeah, sure, do your project, whatever, because there's thousands upon thousands of new ones every day. When we did literally a pre-order service for the last T-shirt that we did for the store, there was no approval process. It was just I wrote it up and it was online immediately, and I thought they don't even care anymore. Which is why ones get in for egg salad or for all sorts of other ridiculous, nonsensical reasons. But yeah, maybe there's
Interesting.
because I remember the first time we did one to fund the Rogues Gallery, it was all, oh man, I hope they let us do this. I hope that we qualify and that this has enough artistic merit, and if that we can make this. And then it was, now anyone can do it. So
wow, yeah.
I guess it's easier, but I completely agree that it's definitely more of a fulfillment service or a pre-order service than anything else. That's the way to do it. We even, for the last shirt, we set our dollar amount super low, and my brother like kicked in the last $50 because he's like, hey, you made your goal. I'm like, take it back. Don't give us money. If you want to buy a shirt, give us money. Don't just give us money to get to the goal, because that's a fake goal. All we want is people to say, I want this shirt, and we were doing it so they would pay for the shirt printing ahead of time, and then with the extra money we got, we made shirts that we could sell in the store, and that was all. So it's, again, nothing like we didn't come out with. People think, especially for bigger Kickstarters, people think that others come out with like, oh man, you made like an extra $20,000. No, that all goes places. It doesn't work that way. It's not nearly as open and shut as that. From your first printing of Regalia, you still have books. Are the books that you're selling at shows, it's still from the first, like, are you almost out? How do you...
I'm almost halfway.
Okay.
Because Sarah still has 1,000 of them in Chicago.
Oh, nice. So if you need more, we can get them from her.
Yeah, at her job under the stairs. And I've got, I think, 3 or 4 boxes left, and 1,000. Let's see, it's about 30 boxes.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'm really legit almost halfway through them, and it's not like the past couple of years, because the past couple of years I've been working in advertising, so I haven't been pushing it as hard or doing as many conventions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If I had kept at the pace I was going, I'd probably be maybe a quarter into Sarah's stock by now.
Does that will that alter what you print for the next project, or do you like having that amount around for as long as you have, except for when you move to France and have to worry about where everything is stored?
Right. Yeah, I thought it mostly had to do with print minimums.
Okay.
That, no one wants to print 500 books, or sure. There's price breaks as you go up. And I feel like somewhere around 3 to 5 years to sell out the run, I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
As an individual, for sure. So, yeah, I would definitely, that's all right. I would stick with the same quantity. And the only thing I really would change is just doing pre-orders and not a bunch of custom stuff.
Yeah. I mean, initially the custom stuff sounds like a great way to get to your goal, and it's also a great way to have a personal experience with the fans involved, but you don't have that kind of time.
Right. And also I find things like hand-drawn book plates. I think they were screen-printed book plates, but kind of those high-end, stamped, embossed, foiled printing techniques, very sexy.
Yeah.
So I got to keep that in check because, because I'm like, can we emboss it? Can we do all this stuff? And, or planning.
But that all takes time and money.
Well, or planning it differently so that you're also budgeting in hiring someone's time to do that for a week.
Yeah.
which is fine. It's all, I would just plan it all better, really. The more you know.
That's right. That's why this next one, whenever that happens, is going to be awesome. So let's talk about when you set up at shows. You set up at shows. You do San Diego. Do you always do New York? I know you did New York this year, but do you?
It's first time in New York, actually.
Okay. Wow. I haven't been there since 2009, but it's as with everything, when you stop going to it, it just evolves into this monster of a thing. But I've heard nothing but good reports out of New York from this past weekend, but yours seemed to be really well.
Yeah, it really was, and it's being managed by Reed Pop, and I think they're fantastic. They were very upfront with, we're going to fumble along a little bit, but please be patient with us. We want to make it better. Please give us feedback. They really do listen to people, and they really want to make a great show for everybody. And what they did this year was Artist Alley was in an attached but separate building.
Okay.
Which at first I was nervous about because people could just not make it over there.
Sure, there's plenty of horror stories of conventions past where Artist Alley was upstairs, nobody went upstairs.
Yeah, that's what happened to me in Emerald City this year.
Oh wow.
So I was a little bit nervous about it, but
which also is now a Reed Pop show because they bought that one.
Yep. And very much looking forward to next year for that reason, because I think it'll be a lot better, and they're not going to do the Artist Alley upstairs. I talked to them. So, but they thought about the flow of traffic. They gave people incentives to go over there. They paved the hallway that was leading to Artist Alley with things like pinkberry trucks and stuff.
Okay.
And
nice incentive, yeah.
Yeah, and lockers to hold. Progressive Insurance sponsored a whole booth of lockers so that you could drop your crap to go buy more crap.
Sure, that's one of the biggest pitfalls of the show is where do you keep all your stuff?
Mm-hmm. And that people just get too oversaturated where they'd like to buy more, but they don't want to carry it, and they're not going to make it back. So that was really nice. It's little details too, like we got a bottle. I arrived at my table to a fresh bottle of water every morning.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, classy. Let's be adults about this.
Yeah. So your table is 4 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet?
8 feet.
8 feet? Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
8 feet. And then every 2-3 tables, they had about a 2-foot gap in between them. And there was a nice 10-15 foot space in behind the tables in between. So it just, you felt like you had space, you had room. There was a lot of room if you had back displays and to spread out, and
everybody has banners and back signage and what have you.
Yeah, and you could have two. You could have prints up. There was enough table space. Then you could put height. You could use the table for height as well. It just felt adult. It felt civilized and adult, and I really appreciate that.
And what kind of stuff do you bring?
The only thing I didn't bring to this show is T-shirts because I'm just low on stock and I don't want to be telling people the whole show I don't have your size,
Yeah.
So I brought books, I brought prints, I brought a fat stack of originals, kind of for the first time, and buttons. I should have had watches. They didn't come in time. And then my kind of highlight piece of the show was a foil print of Furiosa.
Yeah.
And it was, and they're small. I've moved to smaller prints because I think collectively the Artist Alley audience is running out of wall space.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. Everybody does 11 by 17, and you can only have a handful of those up in your house at a time.
Right, yeah. And even 11, because I like the big, so I have two 18 by 24 screen prints. 18 by 24 is a normal size to me. That feels like that's a piece. But that's a commitment too. And so I've been starting to do these 6x8 mini prints, and I did a foil one, and it did really, really well. So I was really happy with that. And did a kind of promotional thing where anybody who was dressed in Mad Max cosplay got a free Furiosa print.
Oh, nice. I bet there was a lot.
Not as much as I would have thought.
Okay.
Actually, not as much as I would have thought.
Was
but
still more Harley Quinns and Jokers than anything else.
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
By far, and Star Lords. Yeah, a lot of Star Lords. I guess maybe that jacket's easy to find or something. I wouldn't have thought of it, but a lot of Star-Lords and a lot of Suicide Squad stuff.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, and I think that's about the extent of stuff. What else did I bring? Oh, right. I have Death mini comics. I have 3 new mini comics.
Oh, neat.
The comics have been online for a while, but it's a series of short stories that I'm doing with my best friend who's a writer, of interrelated but independent stories exploring death as a character.
Okay.
So I had the first 3 of those, sold out of those, and then postcard sets, which is actually an old product that I'm phasing out because I think when you have a pack of 12 postcards for $10 and they're 4x6 next to a 6x8 print that's for $10, it's a little bit of a conflict.
Sure.
But postcards sold out.
That's good.
And a bunch of stuff sold out, which is great. And not sold out like just what I had in stock at the show, but still.
Right. You still have some in your wherever your storage, but you sold them at the show. I'm pretty sure I bought postcards from you in San Diego as well as a shirt.
Yes.
Because the postcards are a great way to, you could split it up and be like, hey, look, I got everybody a little print.
Yeah, exactly.
Spread the Eliza love around. That's what the postcard sets were for. Yeah. So those are easy to ship out as well because everything is flat for the most part. Like the 18 by 24, do you bring those flat or those rolled?
I bring those flat because I personally just don't like rolling stuff, and especially with screen prints when they have large area ink fills, it can ruin it pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I have a particular suitcase that fits flat stuff exactly.
Oh, wow.
So what I will do is I mount the samples on foam core, and then those act as sandwich where the actual prints are in between, so they protect it.
That's good.
And then most of the stuff I shipped out ahead of time because the hardcover books, forget it, they're just too heavy to take on a plane. And if I'm going to ship a box of that, I may as well ship another box full of everything else.
Sure. That makes sense.
Kill myself through the airlines, especially since Southwest is the only airline doing free check luggage still.
Yeah. It's
cheaper to ship
than having to check everything. Yeah. Or, and God forbid, having to cart everything through an airport.
I spent my 20s doing that, and I'm 30 years old now. I'm not doing it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. There you go. No time for that.
So
specifically, what was it about New York? Was it the excitement of the fans, the sheer number of people that came by, the volume of product that you moved, or just the overall atmosphere of, hey, everybody, we love comics and we're doing this?
Combination, all those things.
Yeah.
Absolutely all of those things. And also a very well organized show. With people and help who, were genuinely there to help you. I think I've just had such bad experiences in San Diego.
Yeah.
Where even the organizers act like they don't want you to be there, and they're just like not nice,
I know so many fans that always still want to go to San Diego and love it and have a great time. They're not there for comics. They're just there for the experience. And when you say things like, oh, what'd you buy? It's always toys.
Yep.
They never have sketchbooks or prints or mini comics. It's mainly just
toys
stuff. Yeah.
Yep. And that was a big thing with New York Comic-Con. People bought stuff. They were there to buy. They were there to buy an artist alley. I think there was a higher ratio of, I'm not going to use the term normal people, but first or second time con goers.
Sure.
Not super veterans.
Yeah.
And I think that really helped with sales in that they weren't just there to get, a whole bookcase of stuff signed. They weren't there just to see their favorite, celebrity. They weren't there for free swag. They were there because they love this medium. There were I felt like more families for that reason. And interestingly, and I think this is just a New York culture thing, people paid in cash a lot. But the convention center has just banks of ATMs.
Okay.
Maybe every 5, I don't know, I'm terrible with distances, but all over the convention center there'll be areas with 20 ATMs all right next to each other. Yeah, and I feel like even just kind of subconsciously it encourages buying, you know?
Sure. But you take credit cards. You have Square,
Of
you have
course, of course.
PayPal, whatever the little their service is called.
Yep, yep, yeah, of course.
Did you have
But
any Wi-Fi or connectivity issues, or were you just going with your network as opposed to trying to sign on to the free Wi-Fi?
they had Lex Luthor Wi-Fi,
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
which was okay, but I have unlimited data on my phone.
Don't use Lex Luthor Wi-Fi. He's going to steal all of your data. I would not trust that man. I'm sorry.
And with the sign-ins every time, and
Yeah, right. Just
it's just not worth the risk, right?
yeah, I always like credit card sales. It shows to me, even as a consumer, it's very much a well. I was going to get this one thing, but if I can find something else to do, that'll justify a credit card. So it would always make me buy more.
But at the same time, I think having a pocket full of cash and you're going to go to the ATM and withdraw however much money, it just is a little bit more motivating in terms of you've set your intention to buy stuff.
Yeah, and get out as much as you can at one time, so that there's no fees to have to go back and get more.
Exactly, exactly. But at the same time, since everybody takes credit cards, if there's something that's beyond your cash capacity or that's a high ticket item and you want to like space all your cash out, no problem.
Yeah.
You can buy that too. So it you don't lose one for having the other.
I think it's great that people are paying in cash. I still am amazed at the number of creators that don't have a Square setup or any type of credit card setup because it's so easy now to take that.
I know.
Mean, like even so recently as the first or second C2E2s, like our payment system was awkward and clunky, and we had to log into a payment website and then type everything by hand. And man, now it's so much easier. And I remember like my first San Diego way back in '92. One booth was taking credit cards. I'm like, oh my God. And it was a soundtrack booth. And I wound up buying so much extra because I'm like, I can get all these CDs and not have to pay actual money right now. So yeah, the credit card thing is just so much more. But yeah, just the fact that people went to New York with money is a thing that, because a lot of people pay the high ticket price to get in and feel like their entertainment is just what they get to see, not like
Exactly.
having to put it back in. And definitely creators I know who go to San Diego, they never make the money back ever, but they feel they need to go because it's the big show, or maybe they can meet a contact or an after hour event or something, but they never make their money back in product sold.
It's definitely not a sales show. Part of it too is especially from Artist Alley, from 4 feet of table space, I cannot compete with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so oversaturated. I definitely learned that there's a sweet spot of having enough people where it's crowded and busy and you get kind of a hustle and bustle. But if it gets too crowded, then
it's going to stop.
They don't stop. They get overwhelmed. They get to your booth and they're kind of glossy-eyed. They can't focus, But then if it's too dead, it's the Artist Alley of desperation,
And people like that. If you are already engaged with somebody else, they can come up and look at your stuff and not have to talk to you because, a lot of times you want to go through Artist Alley with blinders on because you don't want to have that like, hey, please buy my book. Can you please buy, or the hard seller, whatever. You want to like walk up to a table and look and admittedly, I've bought books out of pity often in Artist Alley because something caught my eye. I stopped and then I think, I don't actually like this, but I just feel bad. I'm like, all right, here's $3 or what have you.
Or you're not going to shut up and let me leave unless fine here, especially if it's like just like a $3 fine. Here's $3. I'm going away.
Yeah. This is my leaving fee. I'm allowed to get out of here without. Okay, this is my guilt tax. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Were you doing sketches at the show as well?
No, I stopped doing that because I'm often at the shows. This time I had a friend helping me, but I'm often at the shows by myself. And if it does get busy, I can't engage people. It's very difficult to manage talking to people, selling stuff, and doing sketches. And I just feel like it ends up with a compromised piece. And I don't want to be putting any art out there that isn't my best work. Yeah. And when I get home at the end of the convention or back to the hotel, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't want to spend all night in your hotel or wherever you are just cranking out commissions to get done for people.
Certainly not in New York.
Yeah. New York has got such great nightlife. I mean, well, most shows do, even if you're stuck in Baltimore and there's only one bar everyone goes to, but it's still, that can be fun. But
Right.
I only do shows either as a fan or as a retailer. I never have the responsibility of having to set, well, I was going to say set up my own table, but no, I'm setting up a booth, but it's a different thing. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't have the pressure of having to get things done before I get back to the table the next morning kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I watch people do it, and I'm always just glad I'm not doing that.
Well, I think the most important thing you said was you don't want to have your head down buried in a sketchbook every time somebody comes by. And
Right.
you don't want to make them feel like they're bothering you.
Exactly, exactly. And sometimes I'll do little sketches for Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's different because I'm not committed to it.
Yeah, and I think like doing a doodle or a quick sketch, which is like, 30 seconds of your time.
Right.
That is definitely a thing that I like when artists do, just because it gives you a little more personal interaction and you have this thing, but no one expects a masterpiece and it's not a fully realized commission. It's our friend Ryan Brown took his cover to God Hates Astronauts #1 and took the head off the main character and printed out just on white, and he would draw a head on the character for each book you bought, but a really quick Sharpie scribble, mainly of his cat.
Yeah, nice.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Things like that. So that's a very fun walk away thing, and you're not wasting all of your time.
Right, exactly. And, right. And I can put it down at any time if it doesn't come out. No one's disappointed.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't like to be harassed about the sketches, and you'll always get those people who will come back every half an hour asking if you're done yet. And then now I'm in a bad mood at the fans, and they can see that, and I really feel like at the shows it's so important that the fans are number one.
Yep.
They're there, they're supporting the entire thing. You're there for them. They're not there for you, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. What was your table, your surrounding creators? What were they like? Were they in any way thematically close to what you do, or was it just I'm completely random with whoever they had next to you on either side or across the way or whatever?
Yeah, it was very well curated, I thought. Yeah, the girl next to me, Suli, has a really nice, very dirty ink style.
Okay.
That was complimentary. I was on the end, so I didn't have anybody on the other side. Behind me, I had
on the end. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I was worried about it because I was on the end, so like on the opposite from the entrance to Artist Alley.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And still, again, this is where the way they designed the hall and routed traffic becomes really important. Like, thanks for thinking this through, because it so could have been a dead zone, and it really wasn't. Like, the traffic was circulating pretty much evenly throughout the whole hall. And a large artist alley, too.
Could you have people coming up from, like, the blind spot side? Like, you weren't against a wall. You were against a hallway.
Yeah.
People come up to your left. You're like, oh, hey, well, as opposed to having people on either side of you. Or do you have to worry about, like, protecting the stuff on the end of the table that way because people have access to reaching it where you maybe can't see them? Or, I mean, I don't know if theft is anything you ever have to worry about, or if you have experiences that way.
Yeah, and in fact, my friend stopped somebody from walking away with a book.
Nice.
But I always figure, I mean, if you steal from Artist Alley, you have to live with yourself and the karma that you're going to be punished with.
See, that's just it. Like the karma thing notwithstanding, like they can live with themselves easy because if they steal from Artist Alley, they probably do it regularly. I'm sure it's not the first time.
I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you're right. And
obviously, I feel the very same way about people who steal from my store.
Yep.
Or the people that think like, I've literally had people say, well, I only steal from like big box stores because they can afford it. It's still stealing. You're not Robin Hood. You're not a hero for doing this. Yeah,
and also, really, because are you their accountant? You have no idea what their
Exactly.
financial situation is, just because they're a company, come on. But realistically, again, this time I had a wonderful dear friend with me, but normally, you got to take bathroom breaks, and you're going to leave your table unattended, and you can put a sign up, and this is where the comics community part becomes important. I am trusting people on a certain level, because you also don't want to get super paranoid where you're kind of packing up every time you go to have to step out.
Like ever say to the person next to you, even if you don't know them real well, hey, I'm gonna be right back, and just keep an eye on my table, kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sure, good for them when they leave.
Yeah, and within Artist Alley, I think there's a big sense of camaraderie with that.
Yeah.
Where at least
you're all warriors in the same fight, and literally at the end of every day, it's survival. Like,
yeah.
Survived another day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How
Exactly.
successful it is or not, it's still backbreakingly long days, and you're on the entire time.
Yeah, and that positive energy is the most draining to project by far. By far. So, yeah, I think, and I'm sure you agree, I don't think you can really appreciate how difficult and draining of a job it is unless you do it. From the other side, from the walking around side, you just don't feel that in the same way.
Yep. Earlier in this conversation, you had said that I'm always jolly, and I thought, I have to be. Like, I'm not, but that's what I project, so that's good. Like, I'm glad that it comes through, but it is definitely a thing you have to work at.
Yep.
There was, just yesterday, there was an experience in the store where Dal got so angry, he had to leave the store for a little while. He had to go in the back, and as we were leaving, he's like, those are all the boxes I was punching earlier today. And you could hear it in the back, but like you're allowed to get that angry, but you kind of like, I don't think you should show it, or, I mean, so long as no one else knew what was going on, that's fine, but I knew what was happening as it was happening. But it's just certain interactions with certain customers, there's just things like, all right, I have to walk away from you right now, or else you're going to see a meltdown, and this is not a good thing, and I don't want to have to throw you out, so I will go be mad over there.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know that, I don't imagine you can do that behind a table.
No, but you can go out and smoke like 3 cigarettes until you're okay to come back. Actually, it's funny. I really kind of only smoke at conventions now.
Well, sure, that's the highest stress level.
And it's just a nice excuse to leave and get outside and get some fresh air. So
there were air quotes for that, listener. There were air quotes. So San Diego, New York, Emerald City, and Seattle. Are there other shows that you do, or? I mean, as you said, you have a full-time job, and this is not like you were doing more conventions in the past, but a show has to be worth it for you, right? I mean, you have to make money enough to make it go.
Yeah, definitely. It has to be worth it in some aspect. Like San Diego is never a sales show, but the connections are amazing. I always have to go for that. I try to do the whatever local California shows I can drive to, because those are pretty much always going to be worth it, since my overhead and effort to do it is so low. If you don't have to get a hotel and fly there and all that kind of stuff, sure, I'll drive out to Pasadena. So I do Designer Con in Pasadena in November. I'll do WonderCon in Anaheim. I did Alternative Press Expo in San Francisco once, never again. Yeah. Everyone I talked to has said that it's just, no one can figure out why, but it's a dead show.
Huh.
It's just dead.
Wow.
I know. There's no good reason. It should be the right audience. I don't understand it, but it's consistent across the board. All different types of artists. I don't know why.
Huh.
And then I'll try to do 1 or 2 outside non-local shows a year.
Yeah.
So this year was New York, and for the first time, I'm doing an international show. Hopefully, I still have to buy tickets and stuff, but I am confirmed for the show in Tokyo in November. Yeah, it's an international comics festival, Kaidai Manga Festa, and I'm super excited about it. It's only 1 day, but how can that not be cool? How can that not be awesome?
And your Skype voicemail is in Japanese.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, probably because yeah, probably because last time I went to Japan, I got a Japanese number on Skype so that I would have a Japanese number to give people.
Sure. Okay. That made me pause for a second. Like, wait a minute. I thought that was Japanese. Oh man, what if it was a completely different language and now I'm just dumb? But yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Tokyo show. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm so
And
excited.
Fun to ship books to, I bet.
That's a good reminder. We're close enough now. I gotta start working on that.
When is it?
The middle of November, about a month.
Yeah, wow, that's close. Yeah.
It creeps up for sure.
Are you going to do anything differently there? Like, are you going to bring different product? Are you going to only wear kabuki makeup? Are you going to just play J-pop at your booth the whole time? Like, are you going to, I guess, cater to a Japanese crowd? Or
yes.
you want to give them the specific American experience that they would get from you anyway, so they get the full Eliza experience?
The main thing that I'm going to do is translate at least a couple of the stories in my book.
Okay.
And have printed translations to be able to give people.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Otherwise, otherwise, quite frankly, I'm not sure I have a whole lot of time to do much else.
Yeah.
Um.
And you're capable of talking in Japanese. I don't know if you're fluent, but you can definitely communicate to people while you're there.
Oh yeah. It was Japanese literature was my major in college, so I'm not as I'm nowhere where I was, but I've been practicing because I knew this day would come, and
I knew this day would come.
I knew this day would come. So I'll be okay, I think. And I have a friend who's a professor at our college in Tokyo, and so he's going to bring his class and help me out and help me find a translator.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
Because really what I want to do is Comic-Con.
Okay.
Which is the big festival that they have twice a year in Japan, and it's 1 million people. It's in July and December, I think. And it might be the biggest comic show in the world.
Wow.
It might, if it's not, it's top 3 for sure. Just in terms of attendance. And I just don't you want to go?
Yeah, of course.
Right?
I want to go to all of them, especially the exotic faraway ones. I still want to get to Angoulême one day.
Patrick, you have to.
I know, right?
No, like that's your priority this year.
Okay.
Okay. It's in January. I can't go this coming January, but I will go and table the following, and you're coming.
All right, 2017.
2017,
All right.
Angoulême.
We're making that. Everybody who's listening.
Eric is coming. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a thing.
Okay.
Nice.
Good deal.
Let's talk about your watches. You have a line of watches now, Modify watches.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why look, everyone who can't see. Oh, the camera's over there. Look, here's the. Oh wait, no. So I mean, that's a pretty unique idea. I don't know of any other creators that have watches.
You know what? I saw someone else in Artist Alley who had watches in New York. Actually, it's a new company, Modify, and they've been hustling to contact artists and build up their portfolio. It's a really great company. I like them a lot.
I like that you can modify how you get your watch. The bands are different widths and different colors, and there's all sorts of, like, you have 4 different designs of yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or perhaps more, and then you get to customize it with the different color band.
Yep.
It's probably good this isn't video for everybody to see. Eliza is being attacked off screen by paper balls. What do we got?
Paper balls.
Okay.
I imagine these are TP balls.
Nice. Well,
and I'm girl throwing them all back to your phone. They're TP balls through a Tampax.
Yeah, your opponent has good aim because they're definitely hitting you, but once your arm leaves the frame, I have no idea where yours go.
They go where you imagine, about 3 feet in front of me.
Well, I didn't realize how
much
adversity there was going to be for you recording this, so I appreciate you risking life and limb to be part of this today. That was a coffee cup, like
Direct hit.
a coffee cup. And I don't know if you heard the background, but she scored a hit. I feel like I should have to announce her. And a right-handed throw from over the top, and a direct hit.
I gotta pay attention now, though. There's gonna be retaliation.
Well, we can wrap this up, so you don't.
I'm sorry, Pat.
No. This is good.
We're adults. We're paying attention. I swear. Watch this.
But I would hate to see any. Don't want to witness firsthand as if you get taken down by something, as like whatever that was.
Okay.
Just don't throw the microphone. You're gonna need that. All right. So where can people reach you? Where can people find you on the web? Where can people see your work?
Okay, we're done here, people. Okay, I can be reached on all the social medias at Eliza Frye, just my name, and on the internets at elizafrye.com. Friend me, pin me, follow me, stalk me. That's what the internet's for.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, LinkedIn. What do you want? I got it. What do you want?
All right, you got all of it. And it's all the same name, which is great because ours are different on every platform. That's super annoying. So yeah, good work.
And my website is my Tumblr. So.
Oh, okay, good. And what can we look forward to in the future?
A lot of comics about death, actually.
Nice. So you have these 3 Death Mini comics. Do you think you'll collect those?
Yeah, there's going to be 12 when we're done.
Okay.
Each one is in a different medium.
Oh wow.
So we've got acrylic, pastel, embroidery, and the embroidery's one's not out yet. And spray paint, like stencil, street art spray paint so far. I'm getting real weird with that stuff. And then
all 12 medias planned out, or do you you've got?
Yeah, there's 2 stories I still haven't decided. I don't know what to do yet. One I thought about doing in flowers, actually.
Oh wow. Okay. I was gonna say scratchboard, but that sounds way tamer compared to like flowers and things.
But then, how realistic is that really? Is it going to take me 2 years to grow that stuff? I don't know. And then they're all unified with format and color and other elements. So it's very much still a unified collection. And then I am working on another comic about death called Come Lady Death, which is an adaptation of a short story by Peter S. Beadle. And I'm about halfway through penciling that now. So that one might be out before the other death collection is actually.
Do you think if you get that first, would you put that into the other death book as well, or not? Because these 12.
No, they're totally unrelated.
Okay.
Just coincidentally, it happened to be what my life is about after Regalia. And what else? I'm working personally on developing more product-based stuff.
Okay.
So I want to expand out of T-shirts and into more other more interesting types of fashion, more designed things like the watches.
Mm-hmm.
Most
jewelry, perhaps.
Yes. I'm very interested in jewelry and masquerade masks.
Okay.
And anything, mostly as a response to the collective wall space issue. Twofold, the wall space issue and things that cannot be commodified online.
Gotcha.
So, but while still trying, what I'm really excited about is while still trying to work in storytelling through product. Like, how much of a story, how much of a comic can I put on a lunchbox, And then how can these products relate to each other to tell a story? So that's where personally I'm focusing.
Neat. And I just thought of this as we were talking and going back into shows. Have you done conventions before you did Regalia, or was that once you had the... Okay, so you were doing this long before that, because from what I remember when you first put Regalia together, like that was all of your first graphic storytelling, and this was like right out of the gate, your first book was a huge hit. Mm-hmm. And like you're not looking to get hired to draw Squirrel Girl or anything like that. You're only interested in telling your own stories in your own way. What were you doing at shows before you had the book? Did you have prints? Did you have Like, what was...
I did almost, if not all of those stories as mini comics first. And I had prints. And I tabled at shows for about 2 years before I did Regalia. And then I've been going at least to San Diego for easily 15, 17 years.
Wow.
And just bringing my stuff. I mean, I did portfolio days, walking around literally just with my work because, hey, you never know who you're going to bump into.
Right.
Yeah.
That is, because I guess I never really knew your artistic history. I've only known it since I've known you, and not how I like the idea of much younger Eliza carrying all her art, looking, having it at the show and being ready. You never know what's going to happen.
Being so cute and innocent. And
instead of bitter and jaded like we all are now.
Exactly. I had it instead of bitch resting face that you get now. And yeah. One story I want to tell about New York Comic-Con that I thought was really amazing is I don't normally like doing portraits of children because their proportions are different and difficult, and getting the likeness is you get one slight thing wrong and it's off, and the parents stare at their kids every day, so they really know. It's just trouble. But my favorite commission that I've done, that I did for Regalia's Kickstarter, was a portrait of a little girl named Lola. And when her parents sent me her pictures, it just was so obvious to me, like, this is a cool girl. She had so much sass and so much personality, and she's skateboarding, and she was 2 or 3 too. Wow. And dressing up and stuff in little paper outfits she clearly made herself, and she just was, perhaps I will say, a kindred spirit in a way. Like, she was so compelling to me. And you know how you can feel people's characters from how they project themselves, how they carry themselves. She was just cool. The favorite portrait that I did, sent it off. Lola loved it. And I didn't realize they live in New York. So lo and behold, who walks up to my table but 6-year-old Lola?
Did you recognize her right away, or was it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah? Absolutely. I'm going to send you, I'm going to email you right now, her picture.
I saw the poster, the picture of her next to the portrait. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And getting to meet her then in person and talk to her, and we had a great conversation about color. Just such a joy of an individual. And it's those kinds of experiences that make conventions worth it. That's why I'm doing this.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so great. That's literally that's the kind of the intangible, unqualifiable thing that you describe to people. It's like on our side of the industry, it's recommending a book that someone raves about and can't wait to get the next one, or tells their friends about. And it's just that giving them that experience is what it is. It's like, I didn't create the book, I didn't draw the book, but I told you should get it, and you got it, and you liked it.
Yep, and you're excited for the same reason I'm excited.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah. And me and Lola, we have the same feelings about fuchsia. So.
That's good. And now you have a fan for life.
She does too.
Her whole life. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes both ways. There you go.
Yeah.
Eliza, thank you so much for donating your early morning, even on, this is technically a vacation for you, right? I mean, you're probably working all day, but you're still in New York, so
it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
It is always a delight to talk to you and to see you, because I got to see you today, so that's pretty great. Thanks so much, and we can't wait till you're in Chicago again.
Yeah, me too. Let's talk about incentives to be in Chicago. C2E2 for sure. I'm on board with ReadPop, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yay!
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 North Western Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago, 773-278-0155. You can visit Challengers on the web at challengerscomics.com. You can direct email to challengers@challengerscomics.com. You can become a fan on Facebook at facebook.com/challengerscomics. And you can follow Challengers on Twitter at twitter.com/challengers.
Cheerios. That I got to see with Cheerios, right?
Yep.
Yep. Oh yeah, there's one.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Cheerios. And they're crunching in the laptop. Great.
There was a lot of patience waiting for the right moment to do that. Yeah. The restraint was pretty amazing.
Yep. That's the thing, because it'd been a while. I thought it'd been a while.
Never forget.
Never forget. I knew this day would come.
I knew this day.
Not never forget. Never let your guard down.
Yeah, no shit.
Not like this.
No, not like this. Always a pleasure to talk to you too.
Thanks so much. I will let you go. Cheerio yourself now.
Cheerio.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.